Hello everybody. Welcome to Michelle's Jewelry Box Creations. We're going to make a multi-strand bracelet today. Um, right now, what we need to, I'm not going to go over really the materials list. I'll put that down in the description. You know, all the beads I used, but you're not going to probably be using the same beads that I use. This is going to be, you know, an eclectic type bracelet. Just, you know, beads, pick some of your favorite beads, and some A.C beads, and just have a little bit of fun with this bracelet, you know. But right now we're going to make two components. The components, the brick stitch top triangle and bottom triangle, that are going to be our connectors to connect our strands to. And however many strands you want is how many beads wide you want your components. So pick up 4 8/0s, or whatever you want to use for your you know, your connectors, and go up, needle up through the bottom 2, like that. Pull. And then we're just going to go back down through the 2 on the right, and up through the 2 on the left. We're doing some ladder stitches here. It's going to be our base for our little triangle component. Okay, and then we're going to go back down through the 2 on the right. If I can get through them. Oh, there's my lotion. And when you get back through those, pick up 2 more 8/0s, and you're coming in out the bottom of those 8/0s. Come around and go through the top of those same 2 beads that your thread's coming out of on the opposite side, and pull, and we're going to go reinforce. So go back up through the 2 you just added on the right, and reinforce down through the 2 left on the left of the ones you just came out of, and then needle back up through the 2 on the right. Yeah, I wanted to apologize. I haven't got a bargain bead box review yet. My box didn't come, and now I'm waiting for the replacement to come. Okay, pick up 2 more 8/0s, and I watched someone else's review because I was dying to see what was in the box. I don't care if I spoil the surprise. A lot of people, they like to be surprised, but I just want to know what's in it. and I can't wait to get my hands on that jasper that comes in it. Alright, so right now my component, and yours also if you've been following me, is 1, 2, 3, 4 rows wide. And I want more than that, so I'm going to go ahead and pick up 2 more and do the same thing we've been doing. Come around and go down through on the opposite side of where your thread's coming out, and chase, you call it chasing the thread, and then come back up through the 2 on the right, the 2 you just added, and let's reinforce. Let's go back down through the left 2, and then back up through the 2 on the right. Okay, I'm coming up. We want to be, when we get ready to brick stitch, we want to be coming out that top bead like it is right now and not the bottom. So if we add another row, we're going to be coming out the bottom. We're going to have to add 2 more rows. So we've got 1, 2 to be coming out the top. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wide. That's not very wide, so let's go ahead. I'm going to add at least 2 more rows. Pick up 2 beads, chase your thread, needle through that same bead your thread's coming out of, but on the opposite side. Pull, go down through the 2 you just added to reinforce, up through the 2 to the left, and back down through the 2 on the right, and you'll be coming out the bottom. And see, that's why I said we needed to add at least 2 more rows, and that was 1 more. And let's pick up 2 more 8/0s and go down through the opposite side where your thread's coming out. Pull, needle back up through those 2 that you just added, go down through the 2 to the left, and back up through the 2 on the right. And now we have 7. I'm going to do 2 more rows. You can stop right here if you want one, if this is how wide you want if you want to have 7 rows of strands. But I think that's a little too narrow for me, so I picked up 2. I'm going to needle through the opposite side where my thread's coming out. I'm going to go down through the 2 on the left, and back up through those 2 we just added. We're coming up the top. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Alright, I think I'm good with 8 strands. Oh, sorry, my foot was going to sleep. Okay. Let's pick up 2 8-ohs. Okay, we're coming out at the top right hand corner. Alright, and brick stitch, if you haven't done it before or it's been a while, remember we are needling not through beads but through thread bridges. The thread bridges that run along the top here is what we're going to be using. So you look down and you can see there's 1, 2. Okay, we picked up 2 beads and we're going to go through the second thread bridge. Okay, now we've got a needle up through that second bead, the one closest to the inside, and that will cinch it down and make them secure, and you're ready for your next bead. Now we only pick up 2 at the beginning, so pick up 1, go under the next thread bridge, and then needle up through that bead you just added from the bottom up through the top. Pick up another 8-oh, go under that next thread bridge, and then needle up through that bead you just added. Cinch it down real tight. Not too tight, but where it lays nicely. Pick up another 8-oh, go up under that next thread bridge, oh sorry, and needle up through. Pick up another 8-oh, needle underneath that next thread bridge, and then bring up through that bead and pull it down. Nice and neat. Pick up an 8-oh, go through that last thread bridge, and then needle up through that bead, the last bead on the row, and then pull it down tight. All right, pick up 2, because remember in the beginning we're gonna, every row we pick up 2 and then we go in to the second thread bridge, and then we needle up through the bead on the inside, only the bead on the inside. You see that kind of draws it over at a slant as we go up. Pick up 180, go under the thread bridge, and needle up through. Pick up an 80, under the thread bridge. Oops. And up through that bead. Pick up an 80, go under that next thread bridge. Needle up through bottom to top. Oh, I'm losing my pearls. Pick up an 80, go under that last thread bridge of that row. And needle up through. All right, keep going. Let's see. You should have just a few more rows. Keep going like we did here. Remember, at the beginning of a new row, you add 2 and go into under the second thread bridge. You'll end up where you have 2 beads on the top, and I'll be back to show you what to do after that, okay? Be right back. Okay, I'm back. I've got my button I'm going to use as my closure, and I've got my component beaded to where there's 2. The top has 2 A-dot seed beads, and I've grabbed a couple of 11-O's. Oh, here's the top. There's 2. And I've grabbed a couple of some 11-aught seed beads to hook my closure, my button on. So since I'm using the button that doesn't have a shank, it's probably going to have to set something like this, on the end. So I'm going to add, let's try 3, 4 11-O's. See how that works. I think that'll work fine. So I'm going to come up through the bottom of my button through the right hole. And if you've got a toggle clasp, you can just add, 2 11-O's, and then maybe one of your other beads, bigger beads, and then a seed bead, part of half your clasp, seed bead, and then go down through the bigger bead that you added, and then add 2 more 11-O's, and then go down the left bead on the top. But I picked up 4, so this button won't lay right over top of my component. And I see, and so I'm going to pick up 1, and I've got this little copper flower, and 1, and see how this works. Slide those down, see if that's enough or too much. Alright, so I'm going to go down through that left hole in my button. Let's see how this is going to work. Oh, my seed bead went down. Here we go. And then I'm going to add, what, I put 4 on. 1, 2, 3, 4. And then I'm going to go down through that hole on the left. And I'm just going to come all the way down through this left side row of beads. And reinforce my clasp. How did I get my thread caught? Okay, and then I'm going to go up through the second row. Go up through 2. And then make my way up back up to the top. Right side, right bead. I'm doing a couple beads at a time, I guess. Excuse me. Picasso Jasper. That's what the Bargain Bead box has this month. The gemstone that's in it. It has the 8mm and the 6mm. Can't wait to get my hands on that. I wonder if mine was the only box that got lost. Alright, so we're coming up that right hand bead on the top, right here. So we're going to go up through the 11 O's and reinforce our clasp. And I'm going to come through this flower bead. The 11-aught. And then come down that left, well, I've got it flipped over backwards, but it would be the left side of our component. You know, we're just reinforcing the whole component along with our clasp. That way it don't fall apart on us or whoever we might be giving it to or selling it to. And back up the next row. We're gonna reinforce our clasp 3 times It's usually good for me, at least 3. So we're making our way up that second row and up to those top, come out the top, one of the top 2 8-ohs, and go back up through those 11-ohs. Whichever clasp you have, reinforce your clasp. The same thread path that we've done twice so far. Oh, sorry, I'm off. It's getting tight now, so this will be our last reinforcement of this clasp, side part of the clasp. Go across that bead and back down into the 11-aught seed beads. And down through that left side again. Oh, yeah, the left side. And the 8-ohs. All right, we're going to have to tie this off, right here on the side, so we don't mess with the beads that we've still got to go through to put our strands on. So catch you a thread bridge on the side, not the bottom, but the starting at the one above, the second. Okay, and catch a thread bridge and make a loop and go through the loop, and then go through that bead and pull your loop or pull your knot up in the bead, and then catch another thread bridge, and then go up through that bead and catch another thread bridge. Okay, continue making knots, probably all the way up this side. It'd be good. And then sew your, either you can leave it and do that last, or go ahead and sew your tail thread in. And then go ahead and rewind this if you need to make the other component for the other side, and put the other side of your clasp on, just like we did with this one. And if it's if you're using a button or a bead for your clasp, make sure you put enough beads in your loop to go around the size button or clasp you have, and get that done, and we'll come back and we'll start adding the strands. All right. Okay, we've got our 2 ends done, both our clasps on. Our thread's coming out the bottom of one of the end holes, don't matter which side. And now for the fun part, we're just going to start stringing. Now, don't forget, you don't want to string, you know, your total bracelet length onto, you know, what I mean is take account the length of both sides with your clasps, and then that'll determine, according to what size bracelet you want, what these strands will be, the length these strands will be. So it's about an inch. It's about an inch and a half to the center of that. So that's 2.5 inches right there. So if I'm making a 7.5 inch bracelet, I don't have to string 4.5 inches of beads. Okay, so whatever pattern you choose is, you know, you might have to put some on, take them off, experiment, you know. That's just how it goes with bead stringing. So I want a smaller one to start off with. Actually, I think I might start them all off with either one of these round antique copper beads. That's 4 millimeters. I might need a smaller one than that. 3 millimeter. And then let's try a pearl. And put a 1101. And an 80. Now all these strands are going to be different, you know, of course, so you can work your sizes in between each other. Let's see. Let's put a tiger's eye gemstone. I keep getting caught on my pasta machine handle, my clay machine. And then another 8 out. I probably should just do this like very randomly, but I'm not good at random. I'll do a 3 millimeter fire polish. And then I'll do a melon bead. And then I'll do another 3 millimeter fire polish. So you get the gist. So go ahead and string your first strand however you see fit, and then we'll come back and hook it into your clasp or your other component, your other side. Okay, I'll be right back. Okay, you have your first strand strung, to the length that you desire. And then all we got to do is come up through on your second component, come up through a couple beads on the corresponding row. You know, if your strand starts on this side, you're going to go up through this side. Go up a couple beads. Go down the next row. Well, we'll go up one more. And go over to the same amount of, I went up 3, so I'm going to go over to the third bead on the second row and come down. And then you'll be in position for your next row. And then you can go, you know, I'm starting mine with a 3mm in every row because there's room for that. They're small enough. And then I'm going to start. And see, I have a 6mm and it takes up quite a bit of space over into the next row. So I'm going to place smaller beads until I get past that. And then since there's, you know, more narrow beads here, if I'm going to use any larger beads, this is the area that I'm going to want to place them in, where I've used the smaller beads in the first row, and vice versa. Okay, so go ahead and string your second row, and then go up through about, I don't know, 3 or 4 beads into your component, and then go over and come down through the next row and do that. And when you get done stringing your rows, come back. We'll come back and I'll show you how to tie off, and then we'll look at our bracelets. Okay, see you in a few minutes. Okay, we're back. All right. Well, my bracelet turned out prettier than I was hoping for, and I really like it. And I'll have to think of a name for it. But I got carried away and forgot I was making a video. I normally do get carried away in my beading and forget, you know, when I'm anything else except beading. But when you're finishing and you come down to your last row, and you know you're going to go up through the last 8-0 in your component. You know, you're going to string your last row. You're going to come up through a few, just a couple, and then you're going to start catching a thread bridge here along the side. I still have a piece of thread here I got to burn, but along the side, and you're going to catch a thread bridge, pull, and you'll see it, you know, until you got a small loop, and your needle through that loop and pull, and you'll have a knot. Then you go up through the next 8-0, pull that knot up into that bead. Then you do the same, you know, in between these two, and then you'll do the same. Then you'll go through the next 8-0, pull your knot through, and then you'll tie half hitch, and then you'll go through the next 8-0, and so on and so forth, until you're pretty sure that your bracelet's secure. You know, go to the top, tying knots. And I made I peyoted around my beaded toggle loop here. Ouch. Kitty cat. She's climbing up my leg. And her claws are sharp. And there we have it. Our multi-strand bracelet. I used the beads that we got. Let's see. This one came from the dollar bead box. These are those pretty travertined, I don't know, ovals. I'm not sure if they were the German or vintage. They look kind of vintage. And I used tiger's eye, and I use these pretty topaz cathedral beads. It's a good way to show, and then the little rice beads we got in the dollar bead box. The corrugated rondelles. Here, the peach, and then the melon, and then some freshwater pearls, some small 4mm gold ones. Let's see, is that all? You know, of course, I like to use some metal spacer beads in my pieces. I think it makes them look, I don't know, richer or something. So, and then the copper flower that I put on the button. And so altogether, I think it's a cute bracelet, and I'll probably have thought of a name of it by the time this goes up on YouTube. I love multi-strand bracelets. I think they're beautiful on. Okay, well, if you like this video, like it. If you haven't subscribed, go ahead and hit that red subscribe button. That way you'll be notified of all my new videos and tutorials, my bead hauls, my bead box reviews. That reminds me, like I said, I haven't received my bargain bead box for the month of February. Got lost or something. So whenever I get that, I'll be bringing that to you. And I got a couple more. I've been, you know, trying to design some jewelry. I got a couple more ideas for tutorials. So keep your eye out for those. And have a good day. Thanks for watching.